Welcome to Deep Thought, the power of the heart. You know what? And I know, like, when I'm doing my relationship stuff, especially for men, I'm always like, get that body together. And, of course, just by the nature of this Deep Thought channel, I'm talking about the brain and everything, your mind and everything, right? But I'm going to tell you what. This is my opinion. All right? This is my opinion. This is Rom's thoughts, and some people may agree or disagree with me. But let's discuss it in the comments, right? I think the heart is the most powerful metaphysical organ, right? And there's other people who might think the same thing, and it's not. And I'm gonna tell you why it's the heart. Everything it's the balance. Really, it's the balance between heaven and earth, love, lust and love. Let me use that whole love thing. Now, of course, love is represented by the heart, right? And there's a reason for that. Like, there are two types. I've talked about this before, like the subconscious sexual orientations, the reverent intelligentians and the sensual bohemians. The reverent intelligentians, those are people whose relationships are in their heads, right? Those are ones whose relationships are, they'll relate to somebody, based on companionship, shared values, something like that. But those relationships tend to lack passion. And indeed, when a relationship is too much in the head, so to speak, right? When it's too much in the head, what happens is when a breakup come or it degrades, it's usually because of something going on in the they usually don't have passion in it. I mean, y'all seen those relationships. You get two people together and they like brother and sister, right? Or they like friends. If they live together, they more like roommates because their relationship is based more in the head. And then you have the relationship, you have the people whose relationships are based more on lust, on their loins. So those are the ones, they don't have maybe, they're more passionate, of course, but they usually don't last long. And if two people got married based on that, they usually, or try to have a long-term relationship, it usually don't work because they don't have the same values. Now, the thing is, you need both. That's why the heart is the midway point. It's the balancing off point. It brings the lust part up, and then the brain, the head power, it brings more rationality to the lust part, values to the lust part, but then it also brings more lust, more passion to the value part, and you got to have both to make it, right? So you have the power, it's the power of the heart, right? It's the power of the heart. If someone can have that balance, not just for relationships, but for everything else in life, there's nothing you can't fail to accomplish. Because understand what heart is. You have lust. The heart. You're balancing out the lust in the head part, right? So that means you have passion in your relationship, but you're able to steer it in a certain direction. It's like the control mechanism, right? What's a good analogy? Somebody gave me this a while ago. It's like the lust is the driver, and the heart is the car. It can be. Well, it allows it. It's like the vehicle. It's like the lust is the gas. Here you go. Lust is the gas. The driver is still the brain, but the heart is the vehicle, right? And that's not just for relationships. That's a good example, but it's just in life, right? And it covers more than that. The heart is also where courage lies, right? Heart is where courage, like when, especially in sports, anybody who's played sports, when you have that player that fights through an injury or something, that fights hard, even if it's against a superior opponent, they'll say he has heart. Or when you have to have brain, it's the heart. It also, when you have that heart in there, it also connects you to whatever you're working on with your life. If you go through life with heart, like you connected, it's like you're connected to whatever your vocation is. Like people who put their love into cooking, their food always tastes better because they do a great job. Or they, or if they have to do something like necessary, tough love, like they say, I don't have the heart to say that to them, but somebody else might be like, nah, I'll do because of, their heart, And it's interesting because the heart is usually represented by green. That's the color of the heart. You know what? I'm behind on my chakras. Hold on. Yeah, I had to check that. Yeah, I haven't looked at chakras. I don't get too much into them like I used to. But I'm going to give y'all something deep about that for those who are fans of the comic book Green Lantern, right? Don't count the Ryan Reynolds movie. That was just bad. But if you think about it, with that power ring, Green Lantern's power ring, he could do anything. He could manifest anything his will could bring about him. Touch on the will in a second. He could manifest anything. That's the part of the heart, because once you have developed your heart and you can focus your brain power and your lust power, you can manifest everything. Now, you ain't going to manifest it like some green machine gun or fly or anything yet, but it gives you the ability to build it. And that comes down, and, I said something about the will. See, one thing, especially in the Kemetic philosophy as espoused by the Asar Set Society under the rulership of Ra Nefer Amen the First, Shechem of Shechem, he'll talk about, the different levels of man. Now, when a man develops the will, he rises to the superior man level. They also talk about it in Confucianism and also Taoism, right? Once he develops that will, there's nothing he can't do. He's a superior man. That's what you're doing with, that's the issue with, the heart. That's the importance of it too. So understand, the heart is so important. And you think about something. You can't live without the brain, but you definitely can't live without the heart. You take your heart out, you gone. Your brain will actually live maybe a few more minutes, right? Your brain will actually live a few more minutes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, I believe. But you take out the heart, boom, that's it. That's it. So it's important on so many levels, but it's powerful. Now, metaphorically and metaphysically, if you can raise your consciousness to that level, to the heart level, because it's the level of pure love. Imagine this world if you had a critical mass. It would be a different place if a critical mass of people have reached that heart level where they just have just genuine love, right? And I ain't talking about like that lustful type of love or anything, but just a love for themselves. Like self-love is very important. A love for their family, their community, a love for the planet. This would be a different world. One of the issues that happens on this planet is so many people's hearts are closed. And in fact, that's one of the reasons for the holiday season. Now, I know Christmas and, that time has become very commercialized, but there's a reason why there are so many celebrations around the solstice. There's so many reasons. One of the things is to open up the heart. You notice when people buy stuff, they're giving. And that's a part of the heart, too, to give without expecting anything in return. That's real love. That's agape love, right? So, it's powerful. And, we really need that. We need that. I guarantee if we really had the heart in relationships, it'd be different. If we had the heart in corporate America, they wouldn't be rushing to automate stuff. And this could be another podcast. A lot of technology and a lot of knowledge existed in past societies. The knowledge of electricity went back as far as ancient Kemet, right? But they also realized there was a price to pay for using certain things. And there's a price now where a lot of people are not seeing it yet, right? Kind of ironic, but, that heart is powerful. That the heart is powerful. And if we had a critical mass, when I say critical mass, it don't have to be the whole population. Just people in the right positions open their heart. There's a change. If we had a critical mass of people in corporate America open their hearts, we wouldn't have the financial problems we do today. And, part of the issue we have, because y'all know me, I do business stuff too. Part of the issue we have in the economy, right, is that people's wages aren't raising while, ordinary workers, they getting their job hours cut while people at the top, already making several million, are giving themselves even bigger raises. That's not a person with a heart, If we had corporate executives who had their hearts open, they would say, you know what, there's a certain point you don't need the money to live. As a wise man said, you don't need a $250 water faucet. There's a certain point. There's certain things you don't need. There's a certain point it's just greed. And people had their hearts open. They would say, you know what, I'm still a millionaire. I'm still a billionaire, but I can give something back. Thankfully, we do have some billionaires to do it. But and like I say, this is something else for maybe my business channel. Many of these corporate executives, there's only so much they need. They basically looting out. Yeah. People, let me just say this. This is a little tangent just to end with, and maybe I'll cover this in another one. If y'all really want to know what's going on with the world, forget all that Illuminati stuff and, racial supremacy or this or that. Read the financial pages. Trust me. But anyway, back to the main thing. Open up that heart. It's so powerful. Peace and blessings, y'all.